This is Austin and Matt. This is Matt.
And this is Austin.
This week we watched Kaleidoscope on Netflix, the TV show that tried to tout itself as the one you could watch in any order. So let's see how that went for us. If you like what you hear, like and subscribe. Austin, what did you like about this show?
It's ambitious for what it is. Like I can't lie about that. I'm a sucker for like heist movies. Like even like the most recent zombie one that came out with John Cena. Like that was still bad, but like it was still like a heist movie and I enjoyed it. Same with like Oceans and things like that. So it's ambitious. They're trying to find a different way to tell the story than how it traditionally is. Because a lot of the times it's like, oh yes, we're gonna do this, and then there's like some sort of like curveball, hiccup, whatever it may be, and then you find out like they had thought about that 15 times in the future, and then there's like the big reveal. At this point, you can watch this in any order and get the story however you want. I will talk about some things that I didn't like about it later on, but for what it is, it's ambitious. It is definitely another heist movie. The acting is well done, I will say that. They do a great job with performances, telling the complete story, everything like that. In no way was this put together badly, but I do think that there was some opportunity in terms of execution. Do I like the movie that much or the series? It's okay. It's decent. Nothing too great. Matt, what about you?
Well, it was certainly a unique experience. I think I've never watched a show quite like this. I think that some of the order that I did watch it in really worked. I think that getting to see everything come together in that interesting of a way was actually kind of interesting. It was a thing. It was a thing that I did that was different from what I've done on Netflix before. So at least I got something interesting out of the experience. I agree with you on the performances. I wouldn't say all of them were good. I think there were some that were better than others. There was Giancarlo Esposito is really everything I've ever seen him in. He's really good, so he was great. There was just some other performances that I just kind of rolled my eyes at. I won't say who specifically, but there's definitely some eye rolling.
Tell me about Bob.
Oh, I was fine with Bob. Yes,
okay.
But I think Bob's, along with Giancarlo Esposito, he's one of the few actors that I really recognize from this. I think a lot of the other people were a little bit smaller names, and so I think they were both kind of proven people who kind of knew what they were doing, and it was clear they knew what they were doing. So that worked for me, especially really Giancarlo Esposito. There's that guy who I never know his name. He's just the bad guy in A Knight's Tale. I thought he did great as well. I was super happy to see him here. I would love to be that good looking of a gentleman at his age, along with British. I'd like to be British someday. So, still holding out that dream. Decent visuals at times. There were some moments that were really good. I thought when it came to the actual heist, some of the things that were going on visually there were really good. I enjoyed that. So that worked for me as well. Obviously, I have some issues. I will talk about those in a minute. But first, Austin, tell me what you disliked about it.
The order matters a lot, unfortunately. Like for a show that totes itself as you can watch in any order that you want and like still have a great experience, I would challenge that completely. My advice, if you are going to go through it, is take a look to see what the episodes are, and watch it in close to chronological order, time-wise that they happen, and you may have a better viewing experience, kind of like how a movie would normally tell you something about it. The order that Netflix predetermines for you, I think, is a little bit of a downfall, and it's not going to give you a strong finish to the story. And that's my other thing. Doesn't matter what episode you finish on. None of them have like a really solid good ending. Like they all leave it, because they're so committed on trying to get it to be you can watch it in any order. None of them have like a really strong start, and none of them have a really strong end. So there's no anchor point on here. My advice, I guess, for anybody who's listening out there who may have had any work done in Kaleidoscope, is you gave us an introduction at the very beginning. Give us an actual closing. Like, make it 20 minutes, make it whatever it is. Like, it can be a shorter episode overall, but just have it be like, yes, you start at white, you end up black, and then just watch all these things in the middle, and you'll be okay. and that would have been a much better experience. But you don't get that, unfortunately. One last thing that I will tie in is, as you kind of called out, like some of the acting experiences aren't that great. There are a couple characters who do kind of take you out of the viewing experience a little bit. And there's also some motives that kind of flip-flop a lot throughout the series that it's a little confusing. So that's really all I had. Am I gonna watch this again? No. Thought it was way too many episodes for what it was. It's good for a heist, it's good for a one watch, but the experiment for me personally didn't quite work out. What about you, Matt?
Same for you. I think that the order really matters. I mentioned to you before we started recording, my very first episode was the very last episode sequentially, and there were things that happened there specifically that I think didn't help the rest of the episodes that I watched. I'm actually convinced that this was initially meant to be a straightforward TV show in a specific order, sequential from beginning to end. And I think Netflix came in and was like, we need a gimmick here. Let's figure out what we can do. Oh, you can watch it in any order. And yeah, you can watch any 8-episode TV show of Netflix in any order. And you're eventually going to be able to kind of put the pieces together at the end, but it's not necessarily going to make it better. And I don't think viewing this in any random order made it any better. And in the end, I would bet I probably would have liked it more if I had just watched it in order. So, didn't love the gimmick there. Had some pretty bad dialogue sometimes, which was funny because it was never bad dialogue all the time. There would just be these moments where I would just roll my eyes like that didn't work at all. And so I didn't love some of the dialogue. I feel like there's heist movies where the heist itself is pretty believable. I don't think this was always very believable. There were some odd things that happened where I'm like, what? That works how? I don't know. I found it to be weird. And one thing I just would love to mention, there's a moment here where somebody has a key, and it is the most large, ridiculous 90s cartoon skeleton key that I've ever seen, and I couldn't help but laugh at that. I just wanted to mention that because it was very large and very weird, and I don't think there's any key of that nature that would ever look that way. I thought it was really, really weird. Just worth mentioning. Not even a dislike, just like a what in the world kind of moment. Anyway, yeah, and I think it bears to mention as well that there's no way this is going to get renewed for a second season. If this gets renewed for a second season, I will be so surprised with someone like Giancarlo Esposito in this, and obviously this show is not making waves. I don't think this is getting a huge amount of attention. Netflix's algorithm is probably going to give a big thumbs down to doing any more of these. So, whatever, it's a thing that we got to watch that I'll remember someday and think maybe kind of fondly about, but overall, whatever. So yeah.
Cool. There. We like what you heard here. Please like, subscribe. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.